Hey, what is up, guys? It's Guiltspire here, and welcome back to Champions of the Fog. Not only is today another day of Champions of Fog, but today is the finals of Season 0, and I am joined today by my co-host, Fire Gems. How are you doing today, Fire Gems?
Doing pretty good. Pretty tired, but we're vibing.
That's fair, that's fair. Well, hopefully you are ready for this match between Titans for the White Swan Locker and Undyne Alliance. I'm quite excited, and I hope everyone else is as well.
I'm very excited. I haven't seen a lot of UA, but I've seen a lot of 4D1L, and like they play really, really well. So I assume that they're both gonna play beautifully. I'm expecting close matches.
100%, 100%. No, I'm definitely very excited to see what they bring to the table. And, you know, given that it is finals, the killer trackers have been reset for all intent and purpose. And so I do imagine we're probably going to see 2 matches of Nurse, 2 matches of Spirit, but maybe one team will pull out a surprise, bring a Huntress or another top 8, top 10 killer. But I do think it's going to be pretty consistent, you know, the S tiers across the board.
Yeah.
The real question is how's their strategy and how's it going to differ from one another, and will we really see a difference in skill between each team?
It's gonna be like those tricksters all over again, where they compare the skill levels against each other.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think we'll see a Trickster again today. Sorry to disappoint.
I was disappointed anyway last time. I was so sad.
And those Trickster matches could have definitely have gone better, no doubts about that. But with that being said, you know, we'll have to wait and see what these teams bring to the table, and I'm sure that'll be interesting nonetheless.
I agree.
For those who are not aware, the 2 maps that we'll be playing on today are 2 pretty consistent maps when it comes to their layouts. We are going to be playing on Cold Tower as well as Gas Heaven. So it'll be interesting to see what teams bring on each map. Obviously, Cold Tower is very good for the nurses, the spirits of the world. And imagine on Gas Heaven, we might see, you know, a Blight or 2. Would not be surprised in the slightest to see that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. That's a pretty good map, yeah. Thinking about it. And
also, to answer you, Psycho, you cannot run 2 nurses, but you can run a nurse and a spirit. The killer trackers have been reset for finals. That has been something which I've been asked and have said a few times over, but let me make sure and let you guys know. Killer tracker has been reset. Killer can only be used once. Let Ford Dweets. You can tell I call Dwight Dweet way too much. For Dwight Swan Locker know real quick that they can only use a killer once, but can use their Nurse and Spirit and Blight once more. But with that being said, all the builds are looking good. So I will give them the go-ahead. And we'll be jumping right on into the first match of the finals. All right. So everyone in chat, what are your predictions for this match? Are you thinking that's going to be for White Swan Locker? Are you thinking it's going to be Undyne Alliance? In fact, let me, oh yeah, I was expecting 2 nurses, Psycho. 1 nurse from you, 1 nurse from them. Not 4 nurses.
No, just nurse tourney.
I mean, with some of the ways that some finals go, it absolutely is a thing that, you know, has happened before. I've seen it. It's like, okay, it's just a nurse game at that point. So let's do a quick prediction. Start prediction. Who will win? We have 4D1L versus UA. I'll put the timer to 5 minutes and start prediction. Alright guys, if you have points, now's the time to bet them. And if I do seem a little bit distracted, do keep in mind that I am also the ref for today. So I will be keeping track of score all the while and checking chat on the occasion that I'm able to look on over.
You can just multitask while I zone out on everything.
Alright, build's looking good on Savara's side. Let's jump right on in. We see Kolotar in high surveillance on the Spirits. Like I said, I am not surprised in the slightest to see Spirit be played.
Really, really early sight, though.
I mean, Kolotar is amazing for that. If you know the spawn locations and you get, you know, a really good spawn because of how small it is, you can look to your right, see a survivor, and go, ah, yes, there you are.
Oh, yes, survivor.
Pretty much, but really, really good pallet stun there by Felix.
Yeah, but they got the stun, so everything is fine.
So definitely put Spirit on her toes a little bit here. And, you know, the question becomes, you know, I think initially the play would have been for them to wait out Corrupt Intervention. But I will say this team has done a really good job of...
a really fast Tinkerer.
I was about to say, A, a really fast Tinkerer, and B, a really fast Ruin and Undying out of the match already. Yeah, so amazing start.
I wonder if any of them are running a totem build.
I'd imagine that, you know, part of the team is probably running, like, small game at the very least. We did see those totems go out prior to the start of 1 gen. But, unfortunately, Fengmin falling to the Spirit's lunge and will be the first on hook.
That Meg honestly scared me.
Oh, I don't know about that play. That's a lot of high risk, very little reward.
Yeah, and that was a really good pallet that just got lost too.
Yeah, 110%. That eye tile, though not the best in the world, is good enough. And
God
Meg,
pallet?
I mean, God Pallet's good and all, but at the end of the day, what I'm more concerned about is the fact that she tried to reverse pallet stun the Spirit, and now we have a situation where Spirit has a person on the ground near the hook, only 2 people on gens. I mean, these survivors kind of need to sit on them, but if we look at where these corrupt gens are, they're way too close to the hook. So it's going to be a difficult situation for Forward and Locker to get out of as of this moment.
To be honest, I was like, it's okay, they still have God Pallet, that's still a good loop, as long as that eye pallet doesn't get broken, you can still loop that really well. Like, I personally love doing the eye pallet on Shack and just looping that really, really long, but both those pallets are just dead.
Yeah, I will say here that Spirit has not been able to get this second hook as of yet. Felix trying to trip her up, and does to some degree, but as that eye pallet is now gone, does not have much to work with. And no one has gone through the time to pick up Long Live Mac. And so Forwitz is kind of back in the same situation that they were prior, with 1 person on hook and 1 person on the ground.
And they are going through resources pretty quickly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help on Kolotar. There's very few and far between as it goes as resources in the first place. I do remember my matches against, like, Septus, and I'd break all the pallets by the end of the game.
Yeah, like, that's why I say that eye pallet and Shack is so good, because those two are 2 resources very, very close together, and if you know how to loop them, then you can last for a while.
Exactly, exactly. On one hand, good play on Forward Whites for getting that pickup. On the other hand, unfortunately, Long Live Mac was not long for this world, and it's back down on the ground.
Long Live Mac did not really live long up to his name.
Exactly. Spirit trying to get this 3-person slug here, or rather 2-person and 1 hook. But if that were to happen, it could spell the end of this match.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
they should be able to get.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Forwitz kind of needs to go into damage control here and needs to get some generators to try and stop the bleeding.
They should really have someone on the Jenny right now. Well, Mac's back up.
The question is for how long?
Yeah.
So that will be second hook for Fengmin, and it's looking like Spirit's probably going to get another down here.
Trying to pull aggro? Weird flex, but okay, Mac.
I'm wondering if they have Deliverance.
I don't know.
Because they did get the first unhook, right?
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
So it could be that they're trying to plug aggro for Deliverance while they finish another
Maybe?
gen in the meanwhile.
That could possibly be a thing. But honestly, if I had Deliverance and I was an attorney, I'd want to save it till endgame. Like Deliverance DS.
I mean,
Save it for a clutch moment.
Yeah, sometimes that is the play, but sometimes you just need to use it early. But unfortunately here, it's looking like we're already with 3 people on hook as of this moment, and Luma's about to die in 15 seconds. Not exactly a great place to be.
This is a very, very rough start.
Oh, 110%, and that will be Death Hook for Luma, leaving Fortnite's Unlocker with only All for Domo up and kicking, and 2 others on hook.
Good sight on both hooks too. Like a Spirit were to go on the hill.
I mean, that would be the play, honestly, go on the hill, because these survivors can't really do much as far as gens with Tinker going. And at this point in time, I believe Felix only has roughly 30 seconds left on that hook before they do die. So Long Live Mac or Alpha Domo are going to have to make a play here. Whether or not they're going to be able to do much is yet to be seen.
Oh, sounds like a Genghis blue.
Long Live Mac is back down, and we see Felix going for the unhook. Spirit sees that too, will probably be going over the hill, trying to get another down meanwhile.
They just got Assassin's Creeded.
It is always entertaining to try and get those death from above.
Some confetti. Going out style.
Good DS there by Felix. But will it last long is the real question. That's the thing about Spirits, Nurses, Blights, is that DS is great and all, but doesn't really get you the value.
Too, depending on the map.
It's true, but honestly, the biggest thing is, like, it's a 5-second stun. What's a 5-second stun to a Spirit or a Nurse?
A Nurse is just like, oh, you stunned me. I'm just gonna go through this wall now.
Exactly.
Just like, I hope it was worth the extra survival points.
More or less. But we do see some form of regrouping here by Fortites, but they really do need to take the time to reset. And does look like the Spirit Mind game did pay off against All for Domo. And since Spirit's already seen Dead Hard, they don't really have to worry themselves about it all too much.
I am confused on Nia's gameplay there. They were just running to consent corner as quickly as they could.
I think they're just trying to buy as much time for Long Live Mac as well as Felix there to try and ensure that they might be able to get a heal off or work on a gen.
Granted, that pallet wasn't broken yet, but I don't think. I would have tried to play around that tile.
Yeah, it's not a bad tile to play around, but it's pretty weak, all things considered. A Spirit, all they need to do is just sit there and phase walk, and you're kind of good to go.
Yeah.
But there goes Felix, and like I said, with Tinker in play, you can't really work on gens in this instance. And case in point with Long Live Mac going down.
Mac is the professional slug this match, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, that is, what, 3 minutes, give or take, on the ground this match?
Yeah.
That is quite painful, to say the least.
It is very painful, to say the least.
Yeah, never fun to be that person, but it is what it is at the end of the day. So, unless All for Domo is able to get off a hook, we might see a last-second Deliverance?
Possibly?
Just a Kobe. Not even a Deliverance, just a Kobe.
Who needs to Deliverance when you have the numbers?
Apparently. I was like, okay, they got off the hook, and I looked again, I'm like, wait 1 second. There's no broken stat.
They just went to cows, asked for some help.
Yeah, apparently. And so we do have this...
Ask for 4%.
Alright, Spirit trying to locate where Alpha Domo is, not being able to just yet. And looks like Spirit's gonna box them out.
Upstairs is the play unless you got balanced.
That would probably make the most sense. When we balance land, it does appear that they do have it in hand. So at this point, all they need is Long Live Mac 2 Suicide. I'm surprised that they didn't do it sooner to try and get Hatch.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be second hook and a progression for All for Domo. Unfortunately, in this case, giving UA just a couple more points for that extra hook.
Yeah.
So at the end of this match, we are looking at 5 points to Fortnite's Unlocker and 53 points to Undying Alliance. We'll be switching things up here. Oh,
I
yep.
still believe.
Still believe that Forward Whites can bring it back?
Yeah, I still believe.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I think there's still that possibility of them bringing it back in the end. But at the end of the day, it's definitely going to be a steep hill for them to climb here. So I definitely do not envy the Forward Whites One Locker killer in this regard. With that being said, let's give them a moment to switch it on up. Bring in Fortis Unlocker on Cold Tower, where we can then see what killer they will bring to the table. I'd imagine they might respond with another Spirit or a Nurse. I don't think Blight would be a good option here. What are your thoughts there?
I don't think Blight would be a good option on this map either. Maybe a Nurse? I've seen some good Nurses. It really... I don't know. I feel like they'll probably do Nurse or Spirit, though, just because, like, those are some of your top tier killers that you can play.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. That would make sense to me that I would see one of those two, and then Gas 7 you might see more Blight play.
Gas Haven Blight is scary.
It can be, especially if the Blight knows how to slide appropriately.
There was a very scary match where I was stuck in the gas station with the Blight, and there was a lot of screaming.
I can imagine.
We were both in the building.
Yeah, that's kind of a dicey, dicey place to be with Blight, to say the least. Honestly, Blight also has a hard time bouncing around those really tight corners to try and get the hit.
That's terrifying. Like, in that back area where that truck is, in the generator, just being stuck back there with someone just bumping into everything.
Yeah, if I was a Blight, honestly, I would have just M1'd and taken the pallet and called it a day. But, no, Blight can be very, very scary, and I've been playing a ton of Blight recently. So, Gas 7, really fun map for Blight if you know how to use your slides right. Well, let's take a look at this build. Build's looking good on Forward White's One Locker. Then I need builds from Undying Alliance. And do remember, Forward Whites, that we are on Cold Tower for this match. Would be appreciated if you guys do keep that. Perfect. Thank you, thank you. Not sure if they heard me or if they already were on top of it. But with that being said, let me do the prediction real quick for you guys. Let's see what you guys predicted for that last match. And looks like Undying Alliance was the favored team. 94% of those who were involved in the prediction said UA was going to win that match versus Forward Whites. So I'll choose the outcome. UA certainly did win that. And let's complete the prediction. And let's do another for this second match between the two. Who will win between Fortis One Locker and UA? Let's start the prediction now.
I believe that Forward Whites can make it come back.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I don't think it's impossible. I think that's going to be difficult. It's going to be an uphill battle, and if, in instance, UA's Survivor team is going to be able to play as well as High Surveillance's Killer did, then, you know, the next two matches following this one's going to be very hard for Forward Whites. It really puts a lot of pressure on their Killer if they're not able to really make a comeback here.
Yeah, indeed, indeed.
But currently, we are just waiting on Undying Alliance's builds as we speak, and once we do get those, we'll be jumping right on into match 2. And more or less, what Psycho Mantis here is going to have to do is they're going to have to pretty much, you know, get a 4K on 2 gens to guarantee a draw between the two teams. Based on what you've seen of Psycho Mantis, what are your thoughts? Do you think that is possible here?
I think so. I have high hopes.
Okay. I think it's possible too. I definitely do. I think, you know, I've seen some of their specialties, and I am curious here to see what they're going to be bringing. There's one in specific that, though I think will be a good choice, it'll be interesting to see how well they play it, as I've not seen them play the specific killer firsthand myself. Don't want to spoil the potential surprise. Well, looks like we may have lost Fire Gem's audio here. Do apologize about that. I'll try and fix that momentarily.
I feel you turned a little robotic.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Are you good?
Yep, can
You
hear you
turned
loud and
very
clear
robotic.
now. Yeah, I was noticing your mic go off and I didn't hear anything. I'm like, well, that's unfortunate. But looks like we are about to jump on in. We have 3 out of the 4 builds from Undying Alliance. Waiting on 1 more. And last but not least, we are looking good, I do believe. So we're going to be jumping right on in. Good to go.
I'm reading the chat, like, in-game.
Reading the chat in-game? Oh, yes.
Reading the in-game chat, yeah.
They're having a lot of fun.
Wish me luck.
One thing I do like about this community is that though we are competitive, we are not, you know, overly competitive is the best way I can say.
That's why I really enjoy it here.
Yeah, no, I've seen some others where it's a little bit too much, where it gets a bit too in your face and really makes for an unwelcoming environment. One thing that I want to really make COTF is almost like the entry to competitive play in Dead by Daylight. Because I find a lot of people who have joined are like, you know, we're thinking about DBE, but it seemed a little bit too much for us, so we wanted to come here instead. And it's like, that's perfect. You know, I want that because I've played in competitive scenes a lot.
Same.
And
I did do it a lot because the one I was in was absolutely toxic as all hell.
It's not even just the toxicity. It's just if there's no entry level for competitive play, there is going to be an eventuality where competitive play dies because there's no new players filling in for those who are leaving eventually.
I do enjoy CTF though, like having the new players, having the casual players like come into the comp scene, and just watching some of the funniest moments happen, like a freaking bulldozer huntress or a sliding twins.
Yeah, there are those very interesting moments, no doubts about that.
And then there was even one that I was commentating on with Vega, where one team had to forfeit, and they wanted to keep playing through. And the Huntress, knowing that there was only, like, I think it was 3 people playing against them, just let everyone mess around, and they just messed around for their final match and had a lot of fun. Like, the Huntress was doing, like, sniping shots and, like, people get back up, and it was fun.
Hey, at the end of the day, you know, if you can still have fun with the game, no matter if it's competitive or casual, that is what matters in the end.
Yeah, it was really nice because the Hunter said they were having fun, and everyone like on the team that had to forfeit, like in voice chat, was having a lot of fun.
But really looks like surprisingly, so I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. So Psycho Mantis is very much a Twins main, and so I'm not surprised to see Psycho on Twins at all. And some people would say that Twins is an S-tier killer. I would still put them at top A. I think they're very good. The question is how well Psycho can then capitalize on this. And we are seeing Ocean kind of juking out Psycho here at those 360s.
Which pleases me a lot. I enjoy seeing a good 360.
I mean, for me, I don't know. I guess maybe because I don't fall for them enough, I just find them very gimmicky. So I'm like, why even attempt a 360 when you could just
trust me,
make
I know
distance?
they're very gimmicky. There's like a certain joy in making a killer whiff by spinning them.
That's fair. I've been there and done that myself, so I can agree with that thought. No doubt about that. But we do see the first down here on Ocean. So far, good early play by Psycho. We got a down as well as a Victor pounce.
How are you feeling about Victor not being able to hit through Dead Hard?
Victor can hit through Dead Hard.
It's in the PTB. It's a work in progress. They're updating Victor no longer being able to hit through Dead Hard. Though they also said they fixed Dead Hard in the PTB, but I was exhausted on the floor 4 times as much as usual.
Very interesting. Yeah, I did not see that in the PTB patch notes. So I guess the question is what do they mean by Victor hitting through Dead Hard? Do they mean that if you Dead Hard away from Victor, that
Like,
Victor
if
will
he
not hit.
pounces as you dead hard, it will not hit you like it has been.
Okay, but at the same time, if you dead hard before the hit connects, when you have iframes, basically, it'll still connect after your iframes go
Yeah.
away. Kind of the same way that
It's
with
pretty
Blight.
much just fixing the iframes. Like if you dead hard at a normal hit, it's kind of like that.
Okay, that makes a bit of sense because one thing I will say is that a good example is Blight, for example, is if someone dead hards away from Blight and does not dead hard towards the Blight swing or perpendicular to the Blight swing, you'll still get hit nonetheless. So I was wondering if it's going to be something like that now with Victor, where you still need to dead hard perpendicular or towards, but if you dead hard as Victor's pouncing, you're not going to have to worry about it.
Dead hard, like as he's pouncing, like if dead hard straight, it'll like you'll be fine because you'll get those immunity frames. But that's if dead hard actually works, because dead hard's a very abusive relationship in general, anyways.
You're not wrong, you're not wrong. Those iframes do not exactly last all too long, so it can be a little bit difficult to say the least
It's not
to
just
make
the
them count.
iframes. It's dead harding and being exhausted on the floor.
I mean, that too.
Another, I also learned you can get endurance on the floor. I used to borrow a time bottle and I had endurance on the floor.
Interesting. I was not
Yeah.
aware of that one.
I used to be T model and got downed, and I had borrowed time on the ground while wiggling on the killer's shoulder.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, it does look like Psycho here trying to force this first kill early while keeping Meg on the ground. Not successful in that first thing, but was successful at least keeping Ocean of Flavors still on hook, but will result in a mispounced and a kick of the Vic.
That's something new.
Now,
Kick of the Vic.
I want to note something here. Does anyone else notice what I'm noticing, which is Ocean's timer going down very slowly?
Ocean definitely.
Yeah, that 100% is camaraderie. I don't know if Psycho noticed that all the while. And so because of that, I think there was some wasted time that happened here.
Yeah.
Now, I will notice that Psycho is waiting out BT. But the dead hard would suggest to me that there was no BT in play.
Yeah. The dead hard was also moved though, just ramming my face into a wall.
Yeah, that is fair, that is fair. What I am curious about as well is... I was not curious
Was it
about
worth
that.
it? Was it worth it?
I was not expecting the Unbreakable, I'll be real.
Where was your soul guard if you were gonna do that?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting Unbreakable. I guess the question is why send in high surveillance without BT in that situation?
I was expecting like a balanced landing or a soul guard, but no, he's just dead.
Yeah, I mean, and now he's slugged out by Victor again. No Unbreakable this time, where it could have been really useful, because I'm very doubtful that Psycho's going to pick up high surveillance while they're broken on the ground. But maybe Psycho in this case is just going to take the chance and go for it.
They might, because they already knew that they already saw them as broken before, so they might just assume that they're still broken from an ability.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. And honestly, you know, if I see a Deliverance, I'm kind of always assuming Deliverance, yes, Unbreakable BT, which does make me question if BT was actually active on high surveillance. You would think it would be, given that it is, you know, Deliverance build.
What I am wondering, though, with high surveillance, so, you know how they picked up, and you said you would have normally slugged. What if they just assumed, like, last match, that high surveillance just 4%ed because they had already been broken previously, and surveillance used the broken to their advantage?
It's possible, though in my opinion unlikely. You normally don't try and 4% in front of the killer like that, unless it's last-ditch effort, right?
Yeah.
That'd be my main thought there. That'll be first hook for Nancy. I will say that UA during this time has gotten one more gen than Ford Weitzman Locker respectively. Correction, 2 more gens respectively. So they are on their last gen here. Even if one survivor dead and one person potentially on... actually, no, high surveillance is not on death hook yet. They are on first hook, going on the second hook. If they had not had BT, or DS rather, they would have been.
Kick the Vic. Vic was too busy playing Minecraft. He needs less screen time.
Yeah, sometimes you're just not patient enough with those hits. You are in a lot of trouble. You know, thankfully of Twins, you can kind of recover very quickly and bring out Victor, you know, time and time again. But if we're noticing one thing, we're not seeing a lot of Meg out and about, which would tell me that she's probably up in Cold Tower and not going for the unhook. You know,
Yeah.
Psycho here is probably thinking, okay, I'm going to guard this hook. But each hook state is 60 seconds. And if Meg is just on that last gen, it could result in a 2-man out. Now, it's not a bad situation for Fortnite to be in, because they don't lose any ground, but they don't really gain any ground either, is the problem.
Exactly.
So I'm curious if she's up in Cold Towers. We have not had a line of sight. And we do see Ruin go off up on that second floor. And sounds like Meg is at window, ready to drop. I mean, if I was Psycho here, I think I'd do exactly this. Put Victor down below and wait for the drop down.
Meg gotta make a choice.
And there it is. And like we said, Meg is down on the ground now and at Psycho's mercy.
That was a good play.
And that was a very good heads-up play, utilizing the grunts of pain to pinpoint where the survivor was, and having them time to think, wait a second, I can do something smart here.
Nancy.
That was interesting. I think Nancy maybe purposely taking the hit, but we do notice that they are applied with the broken SAS effect, which does suggest forced penance being used by Psycho Mantis.
Indeed.
So Nancy's back up, but will not be able to be healed, while on the other hand, High Surveillance will get healed in the meanwhile. And that there is first hook for Megacy, and High Surveillance is healed as we anticipated. It looks like the main plan here by Psycho is to stay by hook, send out Victor, slug them out, rinse, repeat, you know. He has not really deviated from this plan all the time that we've seen him thus far. And looks like these survivors are keen on that fact and are jumping into lockers to avoid that because they know where Psycho is, and they know that if, in instance, they want to go elsewhere, they're going to have to come out.
That is my biggest thing. Try not to be predictable. Try not to do the same thing over and over.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, it's work. You know, if it's ain't broke, don't fix it type scenario.
Yeah.
And we are seeing that here where Psycho is able to bait out these survivors and put them into another uncomfortable position with both High Surveillance and Nancy currently injured and in chase while Megacy is about to go onto second stage.
Good fake.
So definitely a really difficult position for UA to be on. Doing some twirls there as the Twins, you know, trying to
doing some ballet.
Yeah, trying to trip up Nancy here. And though sometimes a good play, you know, good heads-up play and to avoid being down by Victor, I think in this instance, Nancy unfortunately was not far enough away, and we'll see Psycho get the grab out of locker.
Indeed. But we have learned from Twins, Victor likes Minecraft and he likes ballet.
Yeah, exactly. But we do see Death Hook there for the Nancy, and that is now 2 out. And if Psycho was perceptive, which I would hope so, is right in his face, he does know where Hatch is as well.
Let's hope they don't commit bird brain like I do.
It is a very, very easy thing to do, to be fair. You know, you have a lot going on. You're trying to keep track of 3 generators at this point, 2 survivors, their hook states, and so on. So it is very easy to kind of lose track of what's going on.
Meg did a flip. I'm proud of her.
Now the question is, will Psycho try and slug out for the 4K? I mean, it would make sense here. We know that High Surveillance, you know, doesn't have Unbreakable anymore, so that's no longer in their back pocket.
It's just so weird watching Victor's hands just twitch.
He is a weird little gremlin boy, to be fair.
His fingers look like little sausages. I've never noticed that.
I mean, what are hands but sausages in reality?
Very.
But with that being said, looks like Psycho's going to go for Meg and then High Surveillance respectively. And, you know, could either just go for High Surveillance, call it a day, or play out using Adrenaline and see if High Surveillance has it. But that is third hook for Meg, and looks like we're gonna get one hook and a progression high surveillance if we do see Psycho Mantis find them now that they're out of Victor's range.
I feel like he's probably crawling towards Hatchet.
Yeah, I mean, that would make the most sense, of course. Obviously, you want to check that. And I swear, everyone tell me that I'm wrong, but I swear that survivors are crawling faster than normal. And everyone says that they're not. I'm like, are you sure?
I feel slow as hell when I'm crawling on the ground. And I can assure you that I don't think it is faster. Because I had this really toxic ass player match where she just kept using Corrupt and just downing everyone and forcing us to bleed out. And crawling was literal hell to get to someone.
Really? Because I swear, like, from the killer's
killed myself
perspective, they're crawling
game.
so quickly. I'm not gonna lie.
I wish we were crawling faster, like in situations like that, because I witnessed my teammate, a Claudette, bleed out in front of me.
That is rather unfortunate, to say the least. But with that being said, that was a really good showing by Psycho. You know, very, what I would say, predictable plays as they were camping out that first hook to second hook and sometimes to death hook consistently. And though it meant that they got one less point in comparison to Undying Alliance, it did still result in them getting more gens. So for that match, we're seeing 14 points to Undying Alliance's Survivor team and 52 points to Forward White's Unlocker with the Twins, resulting in 57 points to Forward White's Unlocker and 67 to UA. So a very close match going into Forward White's next killer match. So not bad at all. So what are your thoughts at the end of that? You know, what are your thoughts on Forced Penance on Twins? I've been seeing more people using that over things like Sloppy Butcher. I don't know how to feel about it.
I don't know. Like, both are good. It's like, I can think of it as like the meme, like both are nice.
I mean, at that point, you know, just use both, right? Use Sloppy Butcher and Forced Penance.
Yes. Really make them question their life.
I mean, it definitely is a play, to say the least. But I don't know. I think that it's not a bad play, as, you know, if in an instance that you get a protection hit with Victor, which is usually what happens as a 60-second time where they are going to stay broken. And we saw how good that could play in those scenarios. So definitely not a bad play, to say the least.
Indeed. Well, this toy's very snazzy. I got distracted. Interesting outfit. Oh, he's gone.
And now we're just waiting on build. And let's get in UA Survivor team back on in the meanwhile. So overall, I think it was really good showing. I think it was a good use of Twins. You know, people will complain that Twins is really good at camping, and you're not wrong. You know, they're very good at guarding hook and forcing unsafe unhooks, and we saw an excellent display of that by Psycho last match. So, you know, I do believe that if we do see another Twins this match, which is doubtful, you know, I think we'll see a very similar play style in comparison.
All I'm having is war flashbacks to December, when Twins were released, and there was a twin that was just holding me and my friends hostage in the basement. She just body blocked the staircase and put Victor down there as well, and it was very scary. I don't miss that PTB.
Yeah, I can imagine, And just want to check something really quickly. As I'm noticing the Lonely Moth, a new addition to Forward White's Unlocker. But I just want to confirm something about the rules. I know I've made the rules myself, but sometimes I need to get a refresh as well. Let's see.
Yeah, the score is 57 to 67, right?
57 to 67, that is correct.
And 57 Forward Whites?
57 Forward Whites, 67 UA, that is correct. Alright, well, I need to make a quick announcement to Forward Whites. So what are your thoughts on Pinhead and the new PTB while we are waiting real quick?
I'm gonna throw something. I wish I could have enjoyed that PTB. I would have loved to get to play a match. Every match I got, I was tunneled, base camped, BM'd, or forced into bondage because the hook wouldn't let me go.
Yeah.
And all was pelvic thrust aggressively, walking around the map until I died. That was my PTB. It's just aggressively pelvic thrusting at teammates.
Yeah, see, I recognize what was happening whenever I'd see it, and the way to fix it, which unfortunately not a lot of...
They have to hook you repeatedly, and that's how I learned that you could get it freed, but...
Not even that.
Yeah.
All they have to do is hit you...
There was an easier way?
Yeah, there's an easier way. All they have to do is hit you with the chain once again.
That didn't work for me!
Really? Because whenever I was in the PTB and it would happen to survivors I was playing against, I'd be like, okay, let me free you real quick and then give you a head start and we'll chase again. And it's kind of that type of scenario. And so that was what I found worked, but maybe not always.
Yeah, my first game on PTB, I was like, this is fun, I'm having fun. And I have 7 chains on me because I broke his 3 chains, and I was getting assaulted by the normal chains, and all of a sudden I had a chain in my stomach, and it wouldn't go away. I got hooked, his chain vanished, and there was just like the hook in my stomach, and my Jake was just pelvic thrusting everywhere. The ace brought the killer to me, and the killer was like, oh, this player's bugged. Let's tunnel them out of the game.
Yeah, I did see a lot of people not necessarily understanding that it was bugged, unfortunately. And there's like, oh, that's strange. They're, you know, not able to do anything. Let me just kill them.
Tunnel.
And so yeah. I don't think it was necessarily always purposeful. Obviously, some people definitely were.
This one purposefully tunneled me. He was slugging people just to kill me because I was bugged. And then he said, I needed to go have McDonald's. I don't understand.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Sorry about that. You're correct. 7 days. Sorry. Multitasking. Tasking is hard. He's good to go. Need build. Sorry about that. I was multitasking, trying to read rules, talk, commentate, whole 9 yards, and read the rules slightly wrong. I thought they had
You're fired. Get off the stage.
Thought they had a 14 days or cooldown period, but they had a 7 days, so they're all good to be here. Looks like their build is good to go. Undying Alliance. Let's take a look at their survivor builds. Their pictures are always so small. Get a better picture. It's so far looking good on my end, so I believe we should be good to go. And I'll let them know just that.
Question is, do they need a better picture, or you need better glasses?
No, there's some that are two-screen screenshots, and so it's was it 1920 times 2? That is what 3840 by 1080. Yeah, sorry.
Grab your magnifying glass.
Yeah, exactly. So no, thank you.
Let's get really, really close to the screen.
Yeah, that you know, that definitely is how things magnify. Just get closer. In real life, yes. In this situation, not so much.
Do you try hard enough?
But let's set up another prediction. And last time it was 99% to 1% Forward Whites from Locker, by the way. That one person that voted in favor of Forward Whites got a good number of channel points, to say the least. But we're going to do another one here and start out the prediction. Let's see what happens this match with the Lonely Moth versus Undying Alliance Survivor Team.
You know, I don't think I've seen Lonely Moth play before.
That you actually probably haven't, because they are a new addition to the team. So with that being said, we are looking at a new member of Forward Whites.
I will silently judge every movement that they make.
That is fair. That is fair.
No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Lonely Moth.
All right, though. Looks like Lonely Moth is going to be a few moments. Then we'll be jumping right on into the third game of this final round. Very excited to see what they bring to the table and how they play this match. Like I said, I'm expecting... Well, I guess, you know, maybe I should expect the unexpected in this situation. As, you know, obviously we saw twins last match and not a nurse or a spirit. So maybe that should be the case.
Yeah.
But looks like our teams are good to go as far as perks and otherwise. In addition, the killer team's good to go. Maybe just grabbing a quick drink of water, you know, trying to go through some strategies on this map. For those who are not aware, we'll be playing on Gas Heaven. Wanted to pick 2 maps that were pretty consistent in their layouts. That way, when practicing, it wasn't going to be, well, if we get this RNG, then it's going to be really good, or this RNG. So try to pick maps specifically with that in mind. Also, the current score for those who have not heard is 57-67 in favor of UA. So Fort White's Lawn Locker at this point in time has a 10-point difference to make up. It is still a very close game, but if Fort White's Lawn Locker is able to have a similar showing to last match, that might be the nail in the coffin that they need to, you know, close this out and claim the win.
Indeed.
So if you had to be a betting person, who do you think they're going to bring this match?
I'm having flashbacks to when I bet about the Tricksters.
Remember, what you predict is probably what's going to happen.
Let's hope it doesn't face cam. Okay, I'm leaving. I don't know. I'm feeling like Zoomy Boy was probably a good idea. Maybe some Blight.
I mean, if you know how to play Blight well on Gas 7, it's a very, very difficult killer to play around, so I would not be surprised in the slightest. With that being said, we are jumping right on in. So let's find out in just a few moments. Real question is what type of build are they going to bring if it is a Blight? We did see what I'd say is a bit more of an unconventional build brought by Twins last match. Obviously, it did work out well for them. One of the main pieces that I was surprised not to see was a Corrupt Intervention. You know, I feel like that's a comp staple, and not to see it's always a bit of a surprise.
I agree. Get that corrupt value.
I mean, it can go one of 2 ways, I suppose, as well. Some teams will camp out Corrupt, and you're kind of left, you know, swinging at the wind. Whereas other teams will still be moving around just enough for you to find them. So I guess it'll be based on that situation. I see some people are trying to predict that Basement Booba is going to be a thing. You know, just...
Maybe in the COTF games, like mini games.
Yeah, if we ever do those, maybe, you know, guard the chests. However many chests you get is how many points.
I've thought of a bunch of them, so if they do happen, there is a list.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look. Right now, I will say there's not much time between now and the start of Season 1. I'm actually going to get the schedule out tomorrow. Right now we have 12 teams currently with schedules in hand. Another 13th will be joining. So it's going to be exciting.
Another 13 are joining, and I was like... Huh.
No, not additional 13. The 13th is joining, not another 13, though.
I was like, oh no, Guild, more tabs for me to just see light up.
Oh, trust me, there are a lot, but you were right in saying that it was a Bleat Boy.
I'm gonna be honest, if I was him, I would have already lost the game. I'm too distracted by that weapon. It is shiny, and I'm distracted.
Alright, is that like the Greek one where you get distracted by the nails?
Yes. I see shiny things, and I'm very distracted.
So I want to point something out right at the beginning of this match. One thing I really do like about Gas 7 is how consistent the spawn points are. Depending on where you spawn the map, you can actually predict where survivors spawn without hesitation. And this Blight apparently does not know that, as they made a huge mistake at the beginning here, as they could have rushed the specific spawn location and been on top of survivors already. And these survivors, I think, are waiting out Corrupt Intervention, which I think is a smart move here, especially against the Blight.
You know, you discuss the spawn locations all the time, and I'm a survivor main, and this is where I spawn. But my bird brain just goes, oh, I'm in a match. I never pay
Yeah.
attention where I spawn.
I as a survivor, I'll still be paying attention. Like, okay, I spawn here, which means the killer spawns here, and I know that because as the kill, I'm like, oh, I spawn here, the Spire spawns here, and so I can kind of reverse analyze that same situation.
All I know is 90% of my matches, it's like, I spawned in, oh, spawn chill, oh, I'm gonna chase. Oh, fuck.
Sounds about right. Sounds about right. But with that being said, this Blight not finding anyone, and we're already a minute and 30 seconds into the match. I also want to point out something. I know some people will disagree with this. I'm surprised to see a certain perk on this, and I think it is a relatively obvious perk.
I've been eyeing it. I have been eyeing it.
Yeah, for
Very
those
hard. I feel judged by it.
who play enough killer, they know that there's increased FOV this match, and that is due to Shadowborn. I have a lot of people telling me when I play Blight that I should be using Shadowborn. Personally, as much, you know, as it can help, I feel like it just doesn't get you value throughout the match. I feel like it's a dead perk slot half the time.
Yeah.
But we do see the Blight now in pursuit of the Nancy. But will he be able to get the down? And will not on that swing.
I mean, honestly, I don't complain whenever a killer has Shadowborn. It makes easier flashlight saves.
This is true. That is fair. But
It's like, oh, Shadowborn? It must be my birthday.
yeah, as long as he's not facing the wall. But then again, there's been some crazy flashlight angles as of late, I will tell you what.
Flashlight timing also has been off lately. Like, I even flashlight saved a killer late, and they were even confused why they didn't drop a survivor.
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, DBD be DBD, but Blight is once again in a chase with the ace, doing some tricky mind games, trying to gain some distance on that vault, but not enough to get the hit on the pallet, instead getting stunned. And Ace here confident enough not to leave the pallet right away. And we do see the first gen in Garage is now down.
I thought it was going to throw in a god pallet, and my smile turned to a frown, and that turned back to a smile, but I was also sad because he ran into the wall.
Yeah, I mean, think he's trying to fake it out and have Blight swing into God Pallet there. Try and play that out. And I will say some pretty good plays there by the Blight using those car piles, which are not bounce locations. They are exclusively slides. So really good job in using those to try and get the hit on Meg, and does end up doing so. So very nicely done. But will he be able to capitalize? And is able to. All the while, though, two gens have already gone off. So, what are your thoughts on the Blight's gameplay thus far? Is this a scary Blight boy?
No Blight's scary. It's just drunk on drugs.
Fair, fair.
He is a good Blight boy, though.
Yeah, no,
he's all I see Blight as is like a ping pong and drug wielding grandfather.
I mean, he was called the Pinball Wizard for a reason, but then again, back in those days, people are very underestimating of Blight's ability, and nowadays we see, obviously, Blight being put up in the S tier, how good he actually is once you get a bearing on how to use him.
I know I'm bad at playing Blight now, but when he first came out, I got a 4K my first game playing him perkless, and then I got his Adept my first try. And then I just, like, never played Blight again.
I don't know, Blight's a lot of fun. I do enjoy him greatly. Been playing him a lot. But we do see Blight back on high surveillance. And I will say this Blight has been having a hard time with high surveillance this entire time through. Not really able to get this down. But as I say that, finally is able to, and that'll be first took on high surveillance. I mean, right now, Blight is...
Oh, I saw a flashlight in the corner. They could have gone the pallet save. That hurt me.
There was the flashlight. I think it was too far out even for the pallet save. I think it was a last-ditch effort to try and save high surveillance because they're too far out from the pallet. Because you can kind of tell the distance based on how bright the light is, and it definitely was not bright enough. Now, the one thing I will say about this Blight that I'm a little bit concerned for them with is the fact that, though they have 3 hooks, it's 3 hooks on 3 different people with 3 gens already popped.
Have they damaged a gen yet?
Yes, they did just pop a gen right then there.
Like, before that, though?
Yeah, say again?
Have they damaged any other gens, though?
No, that's the first one this entire game.
That's what I'm noticing. And I'm eyeing a perk they have.
Yeah, Ruin just went down. So right now, we have, you know, what many can assume is pop in hand. And Blight does get the ability to down high surveillance, but will they learn the mistakes of Psycho Mantis and not pick them up is the real question. Yeah, I'm very surprised not to see Tinker on Blight, to be honest with you.
Ooh, that was a spicy curve.
I mean, it wasn't just a curve, so that card there, any of those that are that low, the ones with the red tops, are all slide locations, so any
Are you
Blight...
serious?
Yep, so you can slide on all of those cards, so what they did is they slid off of it and went for the down on them. Now, much like that though, the car pile, is also a slide location. So you don't normally want to try and bounce off those, as most times you're going to slide into a corner and just get stuck until you kind of run out of speed.
So they've learned how to not become angry when playing.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
All you're saying is they've learned how to use their rage as a strategy.
Really good interruption there by the Blight on the Meg.
I wish they had save.
What, save the best for last?
Yeah, just for like that moment.
I mean, if you don't respect save the best for last, it can be very dangerous. Thankfully, this Blight not me in that instance, and it will result in a 1-forward trade. Blight here now really able to capitalize on the situation at hand.
Oh, there he goes.
And another
He's
pop.
playing this really well.
Yeah, I mean, at first it wasn't looking all too great, but now, you know, kind of recovering. You know, really making good use of the situation at hand with all of them injured. I mean, a Blight with 4 survivors injured is a really good time for him, as he's able to...
Started eating his spinach and drinking his prune juice. He's ready now.
Yeah, no, he's in a very strong position now with as many injuries as there are, because no matter what chase you're in, you're pretty much always going to result in a down. But Blight tripping up there on that corner, not able to get that hit to connect.
I was trying not to laugh because him just eyeing the car was just so funny to me.
Now, question of the day, will they be able to get Ocean of Flavor off the hook before second stage? I mean, this situation, I don't think it's going to happen. And just like that, second stage for Ocean. And Meg now only has roughly 30 seconds before they're dead on hook.
Ocean has come.
So they're right now on seven hook states. So they're in a pretty good position, but UA not giving up, still doing gens all the while.
I think that's sticking with it.
Progression there by Meg. And going back to the hook, trying guarding it, making sure that Ocean cannot get off in time. Using their speed, though, to try and down the Nancy all the while. I don't know if that's the right play. Honestly, I would just go for the death on Ocean at this point in time. But maybe they're also just looking at the situation to get more points as well.
Yeah, they're just like point bank time.
I mean, they're in a very strong position, to say the least.
Oh.
I'm kind of confused on that play there. Not sure why. Maybe they're waiting on BT and just decided not to go for it.
BT and going for the window to block the window off, because by the time it takes for you to get to that window, your guard time would have run out. So
yeah, that's a fair point.
That was a smart play. I knew where he was going with that.
Yeah, no, that was a very good play by the Blight, and very similar ending to the last match, actually. 4 gens done, but 4 survivors down. So very good plays here by the Blight to close out this match.
Indeed, indeed. This was a nice clutch.
Yeah, I mean, it was a slow start, 3 hooks to 3 gens. And then, you know, in this situation, ended up kind of closing it out.
I'm honestly, I'm pretty impressed, considering this is my first time watching them ever play. They did really well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, you know, overall, some mistakes were made here and there, but they were able to make up for it in the end. And at the end, you know, of the day, though there's always room for improvement, what really matters is the end results. And, you know, the end result here is a pretty handed victory by Fortnite's One Locker for Game 3 of the finals.
Honestly, we don't make mistakes, so I'm gonna question the hell out of you because we're all human at the end of the day.
You're not wrong. But with that, once again, UA's Survivor team with 14 points with 4 gens, and 4 Dwight's One Lockers Blight with 54 points. I will go back and make sure to confirm all these point totals, by the way, guys, since this is the finals and this is playing for money. But with that being said, that does put 4 Dwight's One Locker at 111 to Undyne Alliance's 81. So it is a currently 30-point match. And all 4 Dwight's needs to do is make sure that they don't give that lead up, and they're good to go. So overall, what's your general analysis of that match? Were you pretty happy with what Blight did there?
What's happened with Blight did? I did enjoy what Blight did. I enjoyed watching them play. I liked how they actually strategized their pop. By like leaving someone on the ground, popping a gen, hooking that person, popping another gen.
Yeah,
like,
no.
Actually being smart with it.
They're very smart and strategical with their pop placements, making sure that they were, not going to, lose any potential value or give Undyne Alliance any potential value where they were to potentially get another gen, right?
I feel like you should have had Tinker instead of Shadowborn. Yes, Shadowborn is nice, but in my personal opinion, you should not need Shadowborn.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of have that same thought process in all reality, is that Shadowborn was a strange pick for me. Like I said, I've seen many Blight players, swear by it. But in all reality, I think Tinkerer gives you more value in the long run. But at the same time, they still won the match. So I guess, can't really complain too much with those results.
Wait, what is the score right now, Gil?
Right now, the total score is 111 to 81 in 4 Dwight's One Locker's favor.
So 111, 4 Dwight's, 81 UA.
Yep, that is correct. So right now, UA is down by 30 points, which will mean that 4 Dwight's One Locker just needs to make sure that they get 24 points out of the match. Alright, builds for Killer look good. And now we just need 4 Dwight's One Locker to get on in. And do remember that we are on Gas Heaven. Alright.
Also, chat, I mean, if you want a basement Bubba, you should make a team, and then you can be a basement Bubba yourself. Not sure how that would end.
I mean, you get the first survivor into basement. Maybe you're able to make it work. Less than likely, but you never know.
Get them in basement, but the thing is, you don't care about them. You just care about the chest in the corner. They're just there to keep you company.
Let's see. Getting some questions from UA about the potential point totals. Let's see. I'm curious on this myself. So, if Undyne Alliance were looking to win here, they would need... Oh, that's gonna be close. So, if Undyne Alliance were to want to just tie the match, they would need to stop 4 Dwight's One Locker at 5 gens, no escapes. Get a 4K with only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 progressions at most. So they are definitely in a very difficult position, to say the least. But it is possible for them to win, nonetheless.
Indeed.
3 gen. So the question that I'm receiving is, if they 3 gen 4K, will they still win? So 3 gen 4K. So 3 gens, all progressions. Let's see. That's why I love the scorecard. It makes my life easy to be able to test out different scenarios. If a 3 gen 4K, all progressions across the board, the results would be a win for Undyne Alliance by 9 points.
It'll be really, really close.
So I think, you know, if High Surveillance is able to pull out all the stops and ensure Fortiwites is kept to, you know, 5 gens, no escapes, I think that a win is very possible here. But it's all going to come down to this match. By the way, I don't think I put up a prediction. With that being said, let's start another one. Who will win Fortis Unlocker versus UA? This is your final prediction for the match. And with that being said, let's see if Fortiwites Unlocker is good on builds. There's build number 1, looking good. Build number 2, even better. Number 3, still good to go. And last but not least, number 4, looks good to me. So we should be good to go for this last match. Let me give them the go-ahead. Please make sure on gas heaven.
Yeah.
Don't want to do a reset here if possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, all Fortiwites need to do is make sure that they do 5 gens, and for the majority of their hook states to be progressions, and it will result in a loss for UA. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's up to Undyne Alliance and their killer High Surveillance to, you know, see what comes of that. Will they allow Fortiwites to get any gens at all? You know, we did see High Surveillance in previous matches, you know, get a 4K on 0 gens. So, you know, I don't think that'll happen to Fortiwites, but you never know. Sometimes the pressure that can be gained from a Nurse or a Blight can be rather insurmountable.
Honestly, if there's not a Nurse or a Blight this match, I'm going to be shocked.
Yeah, I mean, it would make the most sense to me, especially with the position that Undyne Alliance is currently in with 30 points down. But we are good to go, and currently waiting on, I believe, High Surveillance to ready up. Let me make sure that I'm in the right spot. I am. Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure, you know, I wasn't in a Survivor spot by accident.
Here we watch Wild Scale Spire walk into a corner.
All right, ready when you are. Okay, looks like High Surveillance just needs 1 minute. So I'll be taking just a quick intermission. You know, whether that be talking about strategy, running the numbers, or you know, just taking a breather, trying to calm down any nerves. Now, this is for all the marbles, and for those who are not paying attention to the prize pool as of the beginning of stream was $100. That will get recalculated, and at the end, once the points and the match has been confirmed, then we'll be looking at distributing that prize pool for Season 1. Season 2, or Season 0, not Season 1, yeah. Season 1, however, will be having a similar setup to where you guys can donate directly to the prize pool if you so desire, or obviously via your viewership through ad revenue, through subscriptions, through bits, will also go to the prize pool as well for the teams. Which, for those who are not aware, Season 1 will be beginning on September 5th. So, quite excited about that.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see the new team.
I know that Vega was thinking about, is Vega going to be participating in S1?
I am not sure. Vega was discussing making a team, and he was wondering if I'd want to join. But I've gotten to finals and said fuck tournaments.
That's fair, that's fair. Sometimes
I've proven my worth. I don't need to do it again. I'm done.
That's fair. Yeah, to be fair, I do enjoy the comp scene quite a lot. Let's just do another quick check on
anxiety and
builds.
makes my hands really, really sweaty.
I mean, yeah, the nerves can get to you, but we do indeed see a Nurse by High Surveillance. And as you all know, there is no range Nurse in COTF. Instead, it is double recharge Nurse. So we're going to see them blinking around quite a lot here. And looking around for the survivors while Corrupted Invention is up. The question is, will Fortiwites Unlocker hold their ground and camp out Corrupt, or will they go a little bit too early? But looks like Alliance, Undying has given them a little bit of info.
Undying, OP, please nerf.
I mean, the amount of info that Undying can give you can be significant enough, especially in comp play, to where they, you know, end up giving away their position during corrupt intervention.
I'm hoping to see some Blink. Never mind. I hope I can see some nice Blink Juice.
Unfortunately, not looking like it.
It's really not.
You know, looks like High Surveillance here really just being on top of these survivors like wet blanket.
Why did Felix honestly should not have shown their presence or gotten hit there, in my opinion.
I think what they were trying to do was just try and take a body block.
They were trying to take a body block, but honestly, in my opinion, a body block against Nurse is a waste of time because they can just blink to get back all the distance that you've given to me.
Yeah, the biggest thing is if you're trying to keep someone up that entire time while in chase against the Nurse, you're kind of in a situation where you have to more or less follow that survivor until Nurse either gets them down, where you gain enough distance, or where you simply enough, you know, chase them the entire time, and Nurse just gives up and goes on to someone else instead.
Yeah, once again, in my opinion, it honestly feels like a waste of time because you're giving them more pressure because you're giving them frames.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Though I could just be being biased because there was a Nurse in the tourney that I was in, and we had a lot of comps on what not to do.
Yeah,
good Dead Hard.
That was a very good Dead Hard, and it's definitely hit or miss on what to do. I think if the survivor's on Death Hook and you want to try and keep them up, that's one thing.
If they're on Death Hook, that's one thing, but this is the start of the game.
Exactly. You know, I don't think the body block was all too necessary, but at the same time, it didn't result in a down, so, you know, Felix could argue, well, hey, I distracted them for long enough for you guys to be on gens, and we're good in that regard. Nurse really playing quite heavily around this area here. You know, not taking the bait there and over blinking. Very good job in that regard. You know, making sure to take that corner. And we do see Feng Min just ever so barely. I'm not sure if High Surveillance saw it as well, but Feng Min, you could see her feet through the car pile and saw that she doubled back.
Feng in those white shoes.
So, pretty good start so far by Undying Alliance here. And High Surveillance on Nurse, you know, 2 hooks on 0 gens. Also, we did see Tinker earlier, and we've only seen 1 Tinker proc this entire time. I think now's the time to kind of explore the area. And as we say that, there's the 2nd Tinker proc of the game. And a very gutsy move there by All for Domo, honestly. I'm quite surprised that they sat on that gen for as long as they did.
Biting my lip with that Nia play.
Yeah, unfortunately, another good Dead Hard, though. Unfortunately for them, you know, the 2 Tinker procs back-to-back were very close together. I think High Surveillance here kind of smells blood in the water with, you know, Ruin still being up. Honestly, it's not a bad idea to slug out. At the same time, don't want to leave him on the ground too long to get picked up.
Yeah.
So far, so good. I'd be surprised not to see another Tinker proc on that gen on the far side. You know, that first Tinker of the game. I would have expected them to have jumped back immediately onto that gen after the Feng Min's unhook, but so far, nothing, which is quite surprising. I'm curious to as why they weren't trying to push that gen a little bit harder.
Same. Oh, honey. That hurt.
Yeah, that was a bit of a misplay. For those who are not aware, and I imagine most of you in comp are, that if you attempt to pallet stun a Nurse during her fatigue, she will not receive the stun. You have to make sure it's before the fatigue or immediately after the fatigue for it to be effective. And unfortunately, High Surveillance struggling a little bit to get out of basement. And we will probably see that Tinker gen go off momentarily. So, you know, with this being said, this is potentially first gen on 4 hooks. What are your thoughts, Fire Gems?
It's a little rough right now for in all honesty. nasty.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the pressure's on high surveillance to ensure that Fordyce does not get any gens this match, or as few as possible for all intent and purpose. And I mean, he is not breaking under the pressure and really showing what he can do. At the same time, I feel like Fordyce Unlocker might be falling to the pressure in comparison, as, you know, I feel like they're making some misplays here, not prioritizing specific gens, not getting unhooks when necessary. You know, I think that... Say again?
And throwing pallets late. That's
yeah, man, I think that really comes down to experience more than anything.
because honestly, Cash could have actually stunned the nurse when they were blinking to that pallet before the fatigue.
Yeah, 100%.
Timed it late. Oh.
Really good play there by high surveillance. Unfortunately, getting that hit a little bit too early. But what is a BT to a nurse? You know, much like DS, it gets you that little bit of distance, but you don't really get all too far.
That loss to that pallet getting thrown to just hurt me. Why would you waste your distance?
I think maybe life play was there? Yeah, that was a life play. What it looked like.
BT? Life into BT? Life into BT? Yes, that's exactly what this is.
And that's what it would need to be. And I'm very surprised that the nurse did not go back down. That was a firecracker. Did not get the blind or the burn, however, so she was still able to blink around.
Or was that a, I don't think they can have...
They cannot flash bangs this season, correct?
Yeah, I didn't think so. I was like, wait.
Long live Mac back on the ground, and that will be another hook for the nurse.
Just fear banged. Like, I fear hard. Fearful, firecracker.
Yeah, honestly, I'm much more afraid of flashbangs and to see how Complay might use that in comparison to firecrackers, because you don't get a lot of warning with those flashbangs, I will say.
I love flashbang.
I know you do. You also love your Metal Man No Mither.
I will be the greatest one-hit pallet that will crawl away. Metal of Mither with some unbreakable and tenacity.
I mean, if it works after all.
I mean, you've watched me walking behind you at the exit gate.
You're not wrong, you're not wrong. But with that being said, does look like...
Though.
I'm not sure if that's a second wind on Long Live Mac or if that was a deliverance. I'd imagine deliverance, but it's hard to say for certain. Well, it looks like Nurse here is not exactly all too forgiving on that one way or another, and it opts to give Fordyce another gen in exchange for this hook. So right now, UA doing a really good job of keeping Fordyce on their toes, because every survivor at this point in time is currently on Death Hook. So what the game...
it's very stressful.
It is. It's going to be, because they need to get at least the next 3 gens before they all die, just for a chance of either tying or potentially winning the match, depending on how many progressions there have been during the match.
Yeah. Oh, Nia. Nia's just zooming right into death.
Yeah, I mean, Nurse is not going to give this hook up lightly. I think the main play here is just get the kill and call it a day. And all the while, you're able to protect your Ruin, which is amazing for this Nurse, to say the least. An amazing play there by the Nurse. I do think that they arguably could have gone for the hook and just sat on that, rather than going for the Felix. And that may have been a little bit of a misplay in my opinion. At the same time, they do protect the gen successfully, do not see anyone else on it, and will they get the Fangman down? Ruin is now down, leaving this Nurse with no form of gen regression. If there was any time for Fordyce Unlocker to bring this back, now would be that time for sure. Fangman doing a really good job, too, of dodging these hits.
Honestly, I enjoy... So, Luma... I've noticed Luma is much better against long-range killers than your normal M1s.
That's an interesting observation, no doubt about that. Alright, well that will be the third hook for Luma. And one survivor is now officially out of the game.
In my opinion, Illuma was honestly one of the best picks they could have gotten because Illuma was the best at running them, based on observation.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you in this situation. I will say Fortnite could still bring this back in the end. It's going to be an uphill battle, but it's still very much possible. I will note at this moment, though, Ford White's currently at 116 to UA's 118. UA currently coming up on top. So if UA continues this amount of pressure, I think they could potentially get this win.
I might just die.
So, what are you thinking so far? You know, this is a very... I feel like victory's on a knife's edge on both teams right now, for both teams right now. You know, who do you think is going to come out on top?
It's very hard to say. Maybe Ford White's, maybe like give the underdogs a little bit of hope. Go for the underdogs. Never mind.
Oh,
well,
but hold on one second. Hold on one second. I'm not sure if you saw what I just saw, but I just saw two gens hit Tinker range.
Believe in the underdogs. I believe in them. They can do this.
Wow. I was, you know, Undyne Alliance and High Surveillance were really putting the pressure on Thick here. I thought they had this in the bag.
Felix. I don't think that they would have known this scratch marks. I didn't even see Felix until they started running like a chicken with their head cut off. Sorry about that random accent. I don't know where that came from.
No worries, no
I just
worries.
get random accents. That one came in harsh.
This is interesting now, and Felix being a bit greedy though. Being just a little bit too greedy.
Greed is not what you want to do. Greed is not what you want to do right now.
So that is going to be third hook for Felix. We do see a quick check on that gen. Obviously, each generator, for every second, it's roughly 0.3% per second that a gen regresses if you just bop it. We do see a Tinkerer over by Shack, and we do see scratch marks over by the garage as well, though. If one survivor escapes, that's all they theoretically need. So High Surveillance is now put into a very awkward position. Do we go for Meg or do I go for the gen? I think the right move is Meg here. Does get Meg down. The question is whether or not they can get back to the garage.
If I was on this team, I would have left. I'd be leaving that generator. Because greeting is not what you want to be doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, the question is what does High Surveillance do? You know, do they just sit on this gen, let it regress?
Are they not going to check any lockers?
I mean, it could be a waste of time because I don't know if you just saw, but I see someone on top of another survivor healing, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. It was a gen? I could have sworn I saw a survivor healing. Am I crazy for thinking that? But guess it doesn't matter. We do see Alfred Doma going down. And that will be the last hook.
Crawl, find Hatch, go find it. I believe in you. You can
if they do, that would be the upset of the century.
Mac, you've trained for this. You've been a slug this entire tourney episode. Go for the Hatch.
That would be the freaking upset of a century if they were able to get Hatch here.
I mean, I think it'd be funny considering how much floor time Max had.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. That was another, what, 2 minutes? And Hatch was not far away. We just heard it, by the way.
Uh-huh.
That was very, very close to where they were. And with that being said, I will go back to the VOD, make sure all the points were calculated correctly.
They were so close, but so far.
They were, but I will go back to the VOD and make sure the calculations are correct, make sure there's no mistakes across the board. But we are looking at 125 to Fortnite's Malacca and 136 to Undyne Alliance. A very, very close match indeed. If Fortnite had gotten that last gen to be 131 to 136, they would have also have needed 2 escapes at that point in time. And so, very, very close match. So So what are your thoughts at the end of all that? That is the Season 0
My hands
finals.
are sweating, and I wasn't even in the tourney.
Really, really good job done by both teams.
Well played to everyone. Everyone played really, really well.
You definitely saw, them put everything into it. I think, there were some mistakes on both sides, realistically speaking. But at the end of the day,
We're just gonna pretend that we didn't see someone hide next to some cars.
Yeah, well, we'll ignore that oversight.
Let's crop that out of the video. It didn't happen.
But with that being said, GG's well played to Undyne Alliance and Ford Oatsman Locker. Amazing showing on both sides. Some amazing killer matches. In fact, did we see a single escape that match? No, there's not a single escape during this entire match. So it has been a very killer-sided, match here, and determining who was going to be the winner. So amazing job on both sides, and it came down to the wire with only a 11-point difference, and that is realistically speaking nothing, because if there was, I think if Fortnite's gotten one gen and one escape, that would have been a win on their end. So that's all they needed in that regard. At 100%, it's really, really close, especially with those many gens tinkered at the end there. But with that being said, everybody, I'll be reaching out to the winning team and providing them their prize pool. And I'm gonna make a special rule for those of you in COTF that were the champion of the previous season. So that way, everyone joining and participating over on the Discord will be able to know that your team was the season champs. With that being said, guys, as always, I do hope that you enjoy the show. Season 1 will be beginning starting on September 5th. If you do have any teams that that would be interested in joining, please make sure to reach out to me ASAP. I'm looking at the schedule going out tomorrow. And if you are a team that is looking to join, please DM me over on Discord. I can get your roles and channel set up ASAP. With that being said, Fire Gems, if the chat wanted to come say hi over on your channel, where would they find you?
You can find me ttv/firegems. I also said hi in the chat. I'll be live in a bit. I'm not sure, probably like an hour or two. I'm not sure what we're going to be playing, but I'm going to be playing with some friends. I think we might be doing some Overwatch tonight.
Awesome stuff. And I am your commissioner as well as your host, Guiltspire. That is GILTSPIRE. I'm a educational Dead by Daylight player. Come check me out at twitch.tv/Guiltspire. I'll be live later tonight as I'm trying to finish up the 60 million blood point challenge. But on that note, guys, we'll see you next time on September 5th for the beginning of Season 1 of Champions of the Fog. Bye-bye!